Welcome to Frickin' History, and let's talk some AP World, and let's talk the little Enlightenment. This is going to be the first piece you're going to need to know in Unit 5, and it is key because it sets up the revolutions. One of the key pieces about the Enlightenment you need to know is how it changed the thinking. Now, this is mainly a European movement. Mainly it starts in a lot of influence in France, but there's also British influencers as well. So the British influencers you want to know about are Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. Now, Hobbes felt like there was a need for a really strong centralized government. He really leaned towards monarchies having that control because in return, the people were protected. And so he felt that that was a good deal for them. But life was hard. Now, John Locke, we love John Locke, and that's the one you really need to lock into. I'm so locked in. So John Locke is the idea he is the life, liberty, and property guy, okay, which is going to sound very familiar to our Thomas Jefferson fans out there, okay? But it's also the idea, he also felt that the consent to be governed was involved as well. The people must give that consent to be governed. Now, this is where Rousseau comes in the social contract. In the social contract, now he's French, Jean-Jacques Rousseau was saying, look, there's a social contract between the people saying, if we're going to give you this power to lead and lead us, we have to give you that okay. And that's also part of that consent to be governed. And what happened is during this time period, these ideas and these thoughts were being passed around in the salons in France where they would have almost like little parties where they would come together and talk about these new ideas, the new readings. And this was more of a higher class, even though it was something really that was going to be more hurtful because there are a lot more people, especially in France, that were becoming more and more poor, and the distribution of wealth was expanding during that time. Oh, and let's not forget about the ladies. Two names you're going to need to know. Olympia de Gouges, French, by the way, and Mary Wollstonecraft, English, by the way. Now, their standpoint was from a feminism standpoint, saying that women also had these type of inalienable rights and they leaned a lot on education. Take a look at the story of de Gouges. I love that story. Here's this woman in France. She marries someone very rich. She's very young. He's very old. He dies. But what she does then is now that she has the prestige of marriage and she has her voice, but no husband, she starts spouting these feministic views. And because she was a widow and she never remarried, there was never a man to really to pull her in and tell her to kind of cool her jets on her views. So she continued to write about feministic ideas and the ideas of the rights of women until eventually the French Revolution caught up But knowing that the Enlightenment was this change of thinking away from monarchies and giving power to individuals, that they had rights, they had inalienable rights, which is where Jefferson gets so much of his influences from John Locke, that life, liberty, and property. And so the idea of the Enlightenment is it's setting up the idea that the people have a say in how they are governed. And this hadn't happened before. So these ideas were coming and transferring over time, really throughout the 17th and into the 18th century. So that's what you need to know about the Enlightenment. Remember, Rousseau in France, the social contract. John Locke, life, liberty, and property, and the consent to be governed. Hobbes, he was more of a centralized government. Those are names you want to lean on. And until next time, peace.